Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Pane karo babu aguti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jayom Vishnupad Paramhansa Paribrajakacharya Sutara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sikol Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri ki jai. Bhuvaneshwar Dham ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktavrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow is Ekadasi. It's Uttayan Ekadasi. And then after 15 days comes Mokshada Ekadasi. So this Mokshada Ekadasi, which usually falls sometime in the month of December or Margashirsha, it's the day that Krishna and Arjuna had the conversation of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, we didn't always have a Bhagavad Gita marathon. We didn't even have Bhagavad Gita in the very beginning when Srila Prabhupada first came to America. We had Srimad Bhagavatam, and then Prabhupada, he gave his manuscript, and his disciple Brahmananda, who was the president of 26 Second Avenue, he was able to get it printed in short form from a very big publishing house in New York City called Macmillan. The way it got printed was very interesting, because you can turn this on a little bit, okay? Thank you. Brahmananda was a very powerful devotee. He used to be a wrestler, a palwan. And Prabhupada made him the president of our first temple in New York City. And we only had the Srimad Bhagavatam at that time to study. But Prabhupada wanted to print his 1,000-page manuscript of Bhagavad Gita. So someone wanted to make, in those days we didn't have computers, we didn't have CDs, we didn't have pen drives, YouTube, nothing. We had records, big records. And someone wanted to make an album of Srila Prabhupada singing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and all of the different Vaishnav prayers. So they went to the studio, they made a very popular Radha Krishna album, and they were getting orders in the mail for this album because it was on the radio. So one order came from a man who worked at Macmillan Publishing House. And when Brahmananda got that letter, he thought, oh, this must be an executive in the publishing house. He ran to Prabhupada and said, look, Prabhupada, we got an order for the record. And Prabhupada said, you take my manuscript and they will print my book. So Brahmananda went personally and it turned out that the person who ordered it, he was just a clerk who worked behind a typewriter, but he was interested in hearing Prabhupada's record. So Brahmananda went and gave him the record, and just as he was giving him the record, the top executive of Macmillan walked into the same office. And the young man introduced Brahmananda to the executive. And Brahmananda, he just did exactly what Prabhupada told him to do. He said, I have a manuscript of Bhagavad Gita. And the executive said, you have a manuscript of Bhagavad Gita? That's exactly what I'm looking for. We'll print it immediately. Because he was going to print all the religious books of the world. The Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, all of the books of the main religions. And he couldn't find any manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita. So they printed a small blue, it was a little bit bigger than this, with almost no purports in it. Could you make this lower? Thank you. That doesn't go lower? Okay. No AC. Okay, fine. Thank you. And we would study that Bhagavad Gita in the temples. And then finally, the Macmillan printed what we now have, the full Bhagavad Gita with all of Prabhupada's full purports. Now, in the early 1970s, because then we had Bhagavad Gita, we had a few small books, Ishopanishad, Easy Journey to Other Planets, Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga System, and the Back to Godhead magazine. So we would go out with the Sankirtan party all day, all night, all the devotees in the temple, and most of the devotees would chant on Sankirtan, and a few of us would distribute the books. Now we had the Bhagavad Gita. So the devotees in the Western countries is mostly Christian religion in America and Europe. And their big, just like we have Janmashtami, their big festival is Christmas. You also get school holidays on Christmas here, but it's not a big festival. This has gone off. There it's like Diwali. Lights everywhere and everyone's giving gifts. It's the New Year time, just like Diwali here. So devotees got an idea. Why don't we distribute this Bhagavad Gita to give as Christmas gifts? So they started the Christmas marathon, the Bhagavad Gita marathon for Christmas. And the word marathon, it's a Greek word. It means, it used to be dancing, let's say a dancing marathon. You can dance for, just like Vakreshwar Pandit, he danced for 72 hours. Something that you do for a long, long time in order to break a record. So they used the word marathon because they wanted this to last for a whole month, that the devotees just concentrate on distributing Bhagavad Gita so that people could give Bhagavad Gita as Christmas gifts to their friends and families. So that was all right in America because it was Christmas time. But in India, Christmas isn't a big festival. So we had to figure out, how are we going to distribute Bhagavad Gitas? And then we realized that it's the perfect time because it's Moksha Ekadasi in December, exactly the same time that the Christmas marathon is going on. So we made a Moksha Ekadasi marathon. Right. So this is how the marathon began. We usually started on December 1st. It goes on until the first week of January or so. And we try, you see, Prabhupada explained that there are different times of the year where you can get extra benefit for doing spiritual activities. For instance, Kartik. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas and Hari Bhakti Vilas collected, Sanatana Goswami collected many different slokas from different Puranas and Shastras about the benefit of doing devotional service during Kartik and how to do it. You're supposed to go to Vrindavan, you're supposed to visit all the holy places and bathe in the Jamuna River, whatever you can do, and you get extra spiritual benefit for doing it during Kartik. So, the benefit of distributing Bhagavad Gitas during this Moksha Ekadasi time, it's like a sale in a shop. We as devotees, every day we're chanting 16 rounds, we're always following the 4 regulative principles, we're coming to the temple and doing service. For us, that's our lifestyle. We always live like that. But to encourage other people, we promise special benefits. That, like in Kartik, if you do this and this and this and this, then definitely you'll go back to the spiritual world like that. So during this Christmas or Moksha Ekadasi or Bhagavad Gita marathon, we have different, like a sale, that distribute Bhagavad Gita, and as many Bhagavad Gitas you distribute will give you a whole Rajbhog Thali, will give you a whole set of Srimad Bhagavatams as incentive. Because then, because the people who are not doing full-time devotional service, then they'll want to take part because they know they're going to get some special gift, right? So it's not for the devotees who are doing the same thing every day. We're always distributing books, we're always chanting our rounds and preaching to people. It's to encourage people from the congregation and people who really don't know anything even about Krishna consciousness. Maybe they've heard of Bhagavad Gita, but to encourage them to distribute Bhagavad Gitas. So the devotees started going to factories and speaking to the owners of factories that why don't you sponsor Bhagavad Gita to all of your factory workers, all 1,500 workers, all 20,000 students in a college, like that. And they were able to distribute lakhs and lakhs and lakhs during this month. And then they would come back and they would get a nice sweatshirt or they would get a new bead bag as a gift. Nothing essential. But the fact that they used their energy, they used their intelligence, they used their time during that month to distribute Bhagavad Gita, that's a very special service. Now, how do we know that? Because Krishna tells us that in the Bhagavad Gita. You know, this Bhagavad Gita, it was spoken in about half an hour, right in the middle of a battlefield. Arjuna, he was so soft-hearted being a devotee, he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to perform his duty. He said, it's better I just go meditate in the Himalayas and beg for a living. I don't want to kill my family members. I don't want to fight with them. And in a half an hour, Krishna spoke to him the entire Sanatana Dharma system. How to work, how to eat, how to sleep, how to meditate, how to perform tapasya, how to perform sacrifices, everything Arjuna needed to do to make his life perfect. And then after the whole Bhagavad Gita is spoken, Krishna gives some incentives to Arjuna at the very end. When he says, the sloka that most of us all have memorized first, Sarva Dharmam Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Praja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Yishyami Masuchaha. Now I've taught you all these different dharmas, now you give them all up and just surrender to me. And I will protect you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. He doesn't stop there. He goes on. And Krishna says in verse number 68, at the very end of Bhagavad Gita, that now I've spoken to you the Bhagavad Gita. Have you understood it properly? Are you ready to do your duty? And Anyone who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. Meaning that if we speak as Krishna explained to Arjuna, to others, Krishna here guarantees bhakti, that means Krishna prem, and he guarantees that you will be able to go back to him, to the spiritual world. He doesn't stop there. In verse number 69, Krishna says, "There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear." So the goal of each of our lives is to develop our love for Krishna. And Krishna, in that sloka, he tells us how to become most dear to him by giving this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to others. Now, I was one of the Sanskrit editors when we printed the Macmillan edition. Prabhupada, we didn't always have the BBT. Prabhupada made an ISKCON press. And those of us who knew Sanskrit or had any typing ability, we went to the ISKCON press to help to print Prabhupada's books. So I knew a little Sanskrit, and I would be proofreading all of the slokas in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And I was thinking, well, this is very nice service that I'm doing. I'm helping Prabhupada in printing his books. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that if I can give this knowledge to others, then I'll become more dear to him, most dear to him. So I thought, there are enough people who know Sanskrit here. Let me go out and distribute books. Because Prabhupada was preaching to us at this time. He wanted his books distributed. So I left the press and I went out. I'm not from New York City. I'm from a little village in a place called Pennsylvania in America. I went in New York City and started to distribute books there. Grand success, distributing books and making devotees. And then we came here to India because Guru Das, he was going to build a temple in Vrindavan for Prabhupada. He invited us to come and help. So we came there, and Prabhupada was just about to come for the grand opening. This is in 1974. Prabhupada hadn't arrived yet, but his sister had come. Prabhupada had a younger sister. Throughout his entire childhood, he and his sister, they worshipped little Radha Govinda deities together. And they did all of the puja and imitating their mother in doing the bhoga offerings and the artis. Their whole life, they worshipped these Radha Govinda deities together when they were children. But then they both got married, and she went to live with her family. She had 9 children. Her husband wasn't a devotee, he was a meat eater, but she was allowed to take Harinam Diksha from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and Prabhupada took double Diksha from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wouldn't give her Brahmin Diksha because her husband was eating meat in the house. So still she was a great devotee of the Lord. And when the grand opening was going to happen in Vrindavan, she came to Vrindavan. She was an old woman, and she needed help. So they assigned me to be her helper. And she was going to cook for Prabhupada. So everything that she did, I was right by her side when she was serving Srila Prabhupada. Now, she only spoke Bengali, and I only spoke English. I had just come to India. So everything she taught me, she had to show me. And that way I learned how to cook all the Bengali dishes. I learned how to serve Prabhupada. And when she would go in to speak to Prabhupada, she couldn't be alone with him because Prabhupada was a sannyasi. So she would bring me to the room, and I would be there while she spoke with Srila Prabhupada. It was a very wonderful experience. So today I was remembering one pastime we had, because especially I was learning how to cook for Prabhupada from Pishima. Prabhupada, in 1974, he became very sick in Vrindavan, and everyone thought that he was going to leave his body, because he had come to open the temple, and when he arrived, the temple wasn't complete yet, and he had to cancel the opening. And from that anxiety, he became very sick. And Pishima was making special preparations for him. But every day, she would make for him sweet Jagannath Puri dal, just like you make here. And every day, Prabhupada would refuse to eat it, because he was sick. And he couldn't eat so many heavy things like dal. So one day, one of Prabhupada's disciples was sitting with Prabhupada while he was trying to eat, and he complained to the disciple that every day she makes me this sweet dal, and every day I can't eat it. So this disciple comes into the kitchen, and he starts yelling at Pishima. He says, "Why do you make this dal for Prabhupada every day? He can't eat it." So you would think that Pishima would listen and say, "All right, I won't make." No, she didn't. She said, "You don't understand the power of Guru. If he wants to eat rocks, he can eat rocks." And she continued to make Jagannath sweet dal for Prabhupada every day. So they had a wonderful relationship together. And because I had learned from her, and because she was very old at the time, Prabhupada called me in, and he said to me, this was after cooking his lunch for him one day, he said, "You've learned very nicely from my sister. Now she can rest, and you can start cooking independently. But you have to modify." Now, modify meant that sometimes Pishma would cook with mustard oil, and Prabhupada would get sick from the mustard oil. So I couldn't use mustard oil. I couldn't use mustard seeds except for punch portum. I shouldn't make the sweet dal. I had to cook what Prabhupada wanted me to cook. That's modify. So Pishima rested, and I was cooking for Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada came here to Mayapur. And at the time, none of the temples were built. They were just constructing the first building in Mayapur, which is the Lotus building. We didn't have the temple ready yet in Vrindavan. And Prabhupada was searching for more land in Vrindavan. He wanted to have a goshala. Do you have a goshala here? You do? How many cows do you have? 18 cows. Wonderful. 80. Oh, wonderful. So he wanted a goshala. He wanted land so we could grow the chari for the cows. He had big plans for Vrindavan, but we only had one small acre of land at the time. So they were making the land deeds, and they needed Prabhupada's signature. And meanwhile, Pishima had to go back to Calcutta. So Pishima said she wanted me to go back to Calcutta with her and accompany her. At the same time, they had some land deeds that Prabhupada had to sign, and he was in Mayapur. So they gave me these land deeds. They said, you give these to Prabhupada, you drop off Pishima, then you go to Mayapur, you give the land deeds to Prabhupada to sign. I was the messenger. So we dropped off Pishima. I went on to Mayapur. I was explaining to Mataji in those days, we didn't have any super fast trains then. We didn't even have planes, nothing. We went on what was called the Tufan Express. It took 2 days to get to Calcutta, and the train broke down. And we had to carry Pishima on the tracks because she couldn't walk well. So it was a real adventure. And then we get to Mayapur, At 9 o'clock at night, there's no electricity, we couldn't see anything, and someone comes with a candle, and it was Prabhupada's servant. He said, Prabhupada knows that you're here because I was bringing the deeds, and he wants to see you tomorrow morning. So I was very happy, very honored that Prabhupada wanted to see me. And then the servant says, be careful. I said, why should I be careful? He said, the GBC, there were like 6 GBCs there, they've gone to Prabhupada, and they've asked Prabhupada to ask you to go back to America and collect to build the Mayapur and Vrindavan temples. So you be prepared what you're going to say. So the next morning, Prabhupada calls us. I go into his room. I didn't want to go back to America for anything. I wanted to help build the Vrindavan temple. That was our life's desire. Just like when you build a temple, you become like the columns in the temple. You just want to maintain that temple and see that it's growing and building and devotees are coming. So Prabhupada has me sit down, and on one side of the room are 6 GBCs and sannyasis, and on the other side are myself and my husband. So he looks at me, and he says, they want you to go back to America to collect for Mayapur and Vrindavan. And all night long I was thinking, what am I going to say to Prabhupada? So in those days, because we had no temples, some brahmacharis were very good at collecting. One of them was Giriraj Swami now. He was collecting for Bombay temple. So I said, Srila Prabhupada, if they want me to collect, then let me learn how to collect from Giriraj. Because it's very unintelligent the way I collect funds. I stand on a street corner, I collect $1 from one person, $1 from another person. But Giriraj, he goes to one person and he gets a 1 lakh donation. So let me learn from him how to collect. This is my way of getting out of collecting. So Prabhupada, he smiled and he looked over at the GBC members and he said to them, force does not work. You cannot force. So that is the way of, and he mentioned another GBC. Then he looked back at me, and it meant that Prabhupada understood that I didn't want to go back to America to collect. He said, so what is your idea? Now, if your spiritual master asks you, what is your idea? What service do you want to do? Can you tell immediately what you would like to do with your life? Can anyone within an instant say, well, I want to do this and this and that? No, we're just thinking of what the spiritual master wants us to do. But Prabhupada's asking me, what is my idea, what I want to do? So if I told Prabhupada I want to go back to Vrindavan and help develop the temple, well, Vrindavan temple wasn't ready yet. So then they would say, well, why don't you go to America and collect in between? So then I really, within 2 split seconds, I thought, let me tell Prabhupada what my real desire is, to serve him. So I said to Prabhupada, wherever I go, as soon as I open up one of your books, a whole crowd of people come, because your books are the most beautiful books in the world. So what I would like to do is, I would like to put your books in all of the schools and libraries in India. And when Prabhupada heard me say that, he lit up like we have the bhajans, where they compare Gaurnitai to the sun and the moon, brilliant, Koti Chandra. Prabhupada lit up just like that. And he put up his finger and he said, wherever she goes, she must distribute my books. So at that moment, Prabhupada said, call Brahmananda, because Brahmananda then was Prabhupada's secretary. So Brahmananda came, and Prabhupada told us that we've just got our first shipment of books in India, coming from Japan. And the books are in Bombay at the dock on the ship. So he had Brahmananda read the inventory of all the books that were on the ship. And then he said, you go to Bombay immediately and you start this program of distributing my books in all the schools and libraries. You go to the colleges, you lecture in the colleges, you go to the embassies, and let us see if you can clear the stock. And within half an hour, Prabhupada had us in a taxi, bought our tickets, sent us right to Bombay. So that was 1974, and now it's 2023. So ever since that day, my whole life has been just to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And we're here, you would think I would still be in Vrindavan right now, taking part in the marathon, but we're here to go to Mayapur to set up a display. For the last 3 years, I've been collecting the Bhagavad Gita. I now have 50 different languages of Bhagavad Gita. Languages that you've never heard of even. Azerbaijani, Latvian, Estonian, Amharic, languages from all over the world. And we're going to set up a beautiful Bhagavad Gita display in Prabhupada's Temple of Vedic Planetarium. So before going to Mayapur, the wonderful devotees here, they invited us to come to Bhubaneswar and Puri, which exactly coincided with the Bhagavad Gita Marathon. So today, I believe they have a program. Devotees are going to try to distribute or pledge that they're going to take Bhagavad Gitas. Pledging. You're going to pledge today Bhagavad Gita, and that way we'll all take part in this Bhagavad Gita marathon together. And then tomorrow morning we leave to go set up the Bhagavad Gita display in TOVP. So I believe now is the time. It's not the time now? You want me to speak more? First, I can ask if there are any questions right now. Any questions? All right. Okay.
Yeah, speak now. So, when you went to Prabhupada, you told that when you go to the spiritual master, we don't speak what our desire is.
Right.
But you spoke actually.
Because he asked me. Then I had to speak.
And that's a very difficult thing also.
Very difficult. And you really have to search your heart. So, my heart was to distribute Prabhupada's books because I knew that that pleased him, and I knew what benefit it is because Prabhupada explained many, many different letters and places. Even if one reads one page, even if one reads one sentence, even if you read even just one word of his books, your life can be changed. So I understood the benefit of distributing Prabhupada's books, and because I had helped in printing the books, I understood all of the effort it takes for Prabhupada to write these books and they get them published, and the most difficult is to get the books distributed. And we have to do it in a very honest, upright, cultured manner. And that way, the way to do that is to read the books. That means you have to understand what you're distributing, and you have to follow what you're distributing. Now, when we went to Bombay, when Prabhupada sent us, he told us, you go there immediately, I am coming in 15 days, and I will train you how to distribute books in India, because India is different from America. So we went to Bombay. Prabhupada came in 15 days, and every evening we would go to Prabhupada's room, and he would tell us that evening where we should go in Bombay, which college. He taught us a formula. He said, when you go to distribute books in a college or a school, the first person you go to is the head of the department of Sanskrit, and you get an order from him. And then you take that order and you go to all the different departments, because each department has their own library. And you get many orders that way in one university and college. So somehow Prabhupada knew where all the different colleges were in Bombay, and we could not understand how did Prabhupada know Bombay so well. So we would go out in the day, we would do what Prabhupada said, we would come back and report to Prabhupada in the evening who took how many books, how many colleges we went to, and then he would tell us where to go the next day. And then one day, Prabhupada told us to go to a college called Elphinstone College. So we went to the Elphinstone train station, we got off, we went to the college, and we did what we always do. We asked to speak to the head of the Sanskrit department, and the reception said, we don't have a Sanskrit department in this college. So I said, well, can we speak to the librarian? So she took us to the librarian, and I showed her Prabhupada's books. I showed her the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I asked her to please take a set for her library. And she looked at the book and she said, well, I'm sorry, but we already have this book in our library. And I told her, well, that's impossible. The books have just come off of the ship. It's the first time the books have ever come to India. And she said, no, we have these books. I'll show you. So she took us to a cabinet. She unlocked it. She opened up the cabinet. And right there in the cabinet were Srila Prabhupada's original red-colored Srimad Bhagavatams. Then I realized, I had the greatest realization of my life at that moment, that it was Srila Prabhupada who had gone to all of these colleges and schools and put his books in those places, and that was how he knew where to send us. So then I realized, because we had no temples then in India, nothing, just all construction sites in 4 places: Mayapur, Delhi, Bombay, and Vrindavan. And when I understood that Srila Prabhupada had personally placed his Bhagavatams in all of these schools, I got courage. And I told my husband, now book our tickets. We're going to start traveling all over India and putting these books in all the schools and libraries. So we went back to Prabhupada and we showed him, and we went to, at that time, and this is another amazing thing, that when Prabhupada first began, when he was still a Vanaprastha, when he began his preaching after he had left his family, he was invited to a very large, every year it occurs in Kurukshetra, where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. There's an all India Sanskrit conference. And all of the Sanskrit professors come there and they have a huge conference, just like the Rotary Club and the Lions Club and the Commerce Clubs. So that all the Sanskrit scholars come to Kurukshetra at this time of Mokshada Ekadasi, and they share their views. So we went to that All India Sanskrit Conference, the same one that Prabhupada went to, way back in the 40s, 1940s. And we set up a booth of all of Prabhupada's books. And the Sanskrit scholars, they were so attracted to Prabhupada's books because it was the first time that Srimad Bhagavatam had been translated into English. They invited us all over the country to come to their universities and their colleges. So then we had invitations to every part of the world in India. And we started traveling Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra. We came here to Orissa. We went to Puri, distributing the books there. And that way we were able to start fulfilling Prabhupada's order to us, to put his books in all the schools and libraries. So this way, now we have a program, because it's very difficult to travel all the time and carry books with you. So now we have a program where we get donations and we give as gifts full sets of books to the schools. We have two different sets. Either we have the Srimad Bhagavatam set in whatever language they want, or we have a set of all of Srila Prabhupada's books and just Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto. So that way we're able to, we've done about 700 schools so far. It's not that much, but at least now we're able, en masse, to distribute Prabhupada's books by getting donations from people and then donating those books to the libraries. So we're trying to use all of our intelligence and whatever energy we have to distribute Prabhupada's books, because we know from the Bhagavad Gita that that's what makes us dear to Krishna, and that's also what makes us dear to Srila Prabhupada, because his whole life was dedicated to distributing the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, in the English language, but then he had his disciples now in 87 languages. Prabhupada's books are available. So our whole life is dedicated to that. And we never have to worry about maintenance, we never have to worry about anything, because we have dedicated our life to distributing Prabhupada's books, and Krishna personally takes care of us in every way imaginable. We don't have to be afraid of what's going to happen if I give my life to Krishna. You give your life to Krishna, and Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that I deliver what they need and I preserve what they have. And that's exactly what Krishna does when you give your life to him. So at least we can practice for this 1 month. Let's just dedicate ourselves to trying to distribute Bhagavad Gita, see what happens within this month, see the magic, the mystical magic of how when you want to help people by giving them Bhagavad Gita, the people, they'll become receptive, they'll thank you, and there's so many stories. We have books and books of Sankirtan stories of how actually by giving this Bhagavad Gita, it saved people's lives because they had no direction in life. You give them a Bhagavad Gita, they open up a page, and they realize that this yoga system, this love for Krishna, love for God, is exactly what they were looking for. So even if the rest of the year you have to be engaged in your school, in your work, in your family, try for this 1 month to dedicate yourself to distributing Prabhupada's books, and you'll see the magic. Okay?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, my question also continues. Although you, now I request everybody to write down your places with your name and the book numbers. How many Bhagavad Gita they want to distribute.
Wonderful.
So please make a note of yours and give us that. In one paper we all can make together. Okay? Okay. And my question is that, is it because every disciple, he may not decide which is the best service for him. What is there in my heart? Like a devotee told me that it is necessary for a disciple to understand what is his favorite service.
Okay.
But I told it's not possible, I am not able to understand that.
favorite.
or whatever means what is suitable for you. Like you can't do anything else except book distribution because you like it so much.
Yes.
So if somebody asks me, I don't know what to say.
No, but we have to be practical. It's not that I'm distributing books 24 hours a day. I was a grihasta. I had to take care of my husband. I had to take care of my child. I had to take care of the house. I had to attend the morning programs. But whenever there was time, then I would use that time to distribute Prabhupada's books. Now, after the family life is finished, the husband's already gone back to Godhead, the daughter's already married, I have plenty of time. I can distribute books all the time now, right? So it depends upon, it doesn't mean that we reject all of our other responsibilities, just like what Arjuna wanted to do. He just wanted to go off and meditate. No, Krishna had another idea for him. He wanted him to fight to establish these religious principles. So he explains that one must perform your duty because if we try to perform somebody else's duty, well, that can be very dangerous. So we each have our personal responsibilities in life. We have to carry on with those. But at the same time, we can be thinking and using our intelligence how we can distribute this Krishna consciousness. And the easiest way to distribute Krishna consciousness is to give a person a book, because that's permanent. It's in their hand, they take it home. Even if they don't read it, someone in their family might read it. They become devotees that way. So this is solid advancement to make you dear to Krishna.
Thank you. Mataji, I want to ask if everybody is able to understand English or no? सबको इंग्लिश समझ में आ रही? सब
हिंदी में बात करोगे?
हाँ, मतलब जी सब लोग चाहते हैं कि आप कुछ और अपनी प्रभुपाद के साथ लीलाएं बताएं।
लीला?
कुछ और प्रभुपाद के साथ आपके जो बातचीत हुए हैं। और एक चीज़ था कि आपने फिर, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है उस लीला के पहले कि फिर आपने फिर से कभी प्रभुपाद के लिए रसोई किया उसके बाद?
हाँ, 2 साल वृंदावन, दिल्ली, बॉम्बे, अहमदाबाद, कलकत्ता और मायापुर में हम घूम किया प्रभुपाद के साथ।
एंड उस समय आपने क्या गिरिराज महाराज के पास और गए ना, नहीं गए?
हाँ, हम तुरंत गए। गिरिराज बॉम्बे में था और जो 15 दिन प्रभुपाद नहीं आए तो हम उस 15 दिन में हम इनके ब्रीफ केस उठाए और इनके साथ बाहर गए प्रचार के लिए लाइफ मेंबरशिप बनाने के लिए।
So you became expert in that also. आप उसमें भी एक्सपर्ट बन गए होंगे।
मैं एक्सपर्ट नहीं थी। मैं कलेक्शन अच्छा नहीं लगती, प्रचार अच्छा लगती। आपने आप पाएगा कहाँ जहाँ कृष्ण है, नारायण है तो लक्ष्मी जी वो अपने आप आएगी इनके साथ। चाहिए।
Mother, you can speak.
Which speak for it, some pastimes. तो प्रभुपाद वृंदावन में वो सबसे पहले जब मंदिर नहीं था, केवल एक जगह था, प्रभुपाद के घर। अब गए सब वृंदावन, उधर प्रभुपाद के घर देखे।
हाँ।
तो वो था, सब कुछ था, हमारा मंदिर था, हम प्रसाद उधर पाए, हम प्रसाद बनाए सब भक्त लोग के लिए, और हम लोग भी प्रभुपाद के घर में रहते थे क्योंकि जब प्रभुपाद उधर नहीं था हम उधर रहते थे। और कृष्ण बलराम, राधा श्याम सुंदर, ललिता, विशाखा, गौरनिताई, श्रील प्रभुपाद और भक्ति सिद्धांत भी उधर रहते थे। हम इनके साथ रहते थे प्रभुपाद के घर में। तो तब प्रभुपाद आए थे और हम प्रभुपाद के सेवा किया। 2 विशेष सेवा था कि इनके पूरा घर देखने का और रसोई खाने के। तो जब प्रभुपाद उधर था, हम प्रभुपाद के साथ था इनके घर में, और पीछे में मेरे को सिखाइए कि प्रभुपाद सेवा कैसे करना, क्योंकि जब आप गुरु के साथ है आप मर्यादा करना चाहते, मर्यादा के मतलब आप थोड़े दूर रहना चाहते गुरु से, और जब आप सेवा करना चाहते तो प्रभुपाद कह दिया कि वो मेरे सेवा अच्छा लगते थे क्योंकि मैं हमेशा चुप रह गया और बहुत ज़ोर से सेवा किया। तो वो ये नोट किया, क्योंकि मैं प्रभुपाद के साथ कभी नहीं बात किया, मैं केवल सेवा किया, और प्रभुपाद ये नोट किया कि मैं इनके पास कभी नहीं गया बात करने के लिए, प्रश्न पूछने के लिए। मैं केवल जो जितना मिनिमल सर्विस था मैं पहुँचने किया, झाड़ू लगाए, सब बर्तन सफाई किया, सब कुछ। और प्रभुपाद के पूरे घर देखे, जैसे इनके पालन कैसे ठीक करना। एक बार हम कलकत्ता में थे और कलकत्ता में आप लोग जानते हैं कि बहुत मच्छर है, तो मैं प्रभुपाद के मच्छरदानी बहुत अच्छे तरह से लगा दिया। जब प्रभुपाद घर इनके कमरे में आए वो कह दी कि मेरे मच्छरदानी ऐसे कौन किया? तो इनके सर्वेंट के देखे दैवी शक्ति किया। तो ओह शी इज एक्सपर्ट एट एवरीथिंग। तो इतना कुछ नहीं है मच्छरदानी लगाने का, लेकिन प्रभुपाद देखे अगर हर एक दीते को देख सकते हैं आपके गुरु महाराज के लिए, तो वो देख रहे कि आप कैसे कर रहे। तो अंतिम लीला था प्रभुपाद से। प्रभुपाद के शरीर छोड़ने से पहले हम लोग बहुत दुखी था, जैसे जब आपका गुरु महाराज शरीर छोड़ दिया, बहुत दुख है। और हम भी नहीं जानते थे प्रभुपाद के समाधि में लीन करने के बाद क्या होगा ISKCON से, हम क्या करेंगे, क्योंकि हम लोग बहुत छोटे थे। प्रभुपाद हमारे साथ के वो 11 साल था। तो मैं क्या किया कि मैं सोचा कि उस समय महिलाओं के लिए बहुत मुश्किल था, तो मैं सोचा कि मैं बाहर रहूँगी, मैं सेवा करूँगी, और बस अगर प्रभुपाद शरीर छोड़ेगा बहुत मुश्किल होगा ISKCON में, और मैं नहीं जानती थी कि क्या होगा। तो जब प्रभुपाद सुना कि मैं बाहर रह रही थी, प्रभुपाद मेरे को बुलाए और मैं प्रभुपाद के पास गए, ये वृंदावन में था। और प्रभुपाद मेरे को बता दिया कि अंग्रेजी में बताऊंगी कि यू शुड स्टे इन आवर कैंप, हमारे साथ रहो, हमारे संग में रहो, बाहर मत जाओ, इधर रहो, इधर सेवा करो। तो क्योंकि प्रभुपाद के ये केवल 2 महीने प्रभुपाद के शरीर छोड़ने से पहले प्रभुपाद मुझे बुलाए और ऐसे बता दिया। तो ये प्रभुपाद के अंतिम आज्ञा था मेरे को कि बाहर मत जाओ, हमारा सब भक्त लोग के संग में रहो और इधर सेवा करो। तो क्योंकि प्रभुपाद ऐसे मेरे को बता दिया, मैं एक कदम बाहर नहीं जाती हूँ, हाँ, मंदिर से हमेशा प्रभुपाद के सेवा में हूँ। और जब प्रभुपाद शरीर छोड़ दिया, इनका सेक्रेटरी तमा कृष्ण गोस्वामी था, और प्रभुपाद के पास बहुत मूल्यवान सामान था, क्योंकि लोग इनके शिष्य लोग दूसरे लोग इनके बेंट दे दिया, और प्रभुपाद के पर्सनल आइटम्स भी था। तो तमा कृष्ण महाराज को 3 भाग में अलग कर दिया। वो एक भाग मायापुर को बेच दिया, एक भाग प्रभुपाद के अलमारी में बंद कर दिया वृंदावन में, और एक भाग बॉम्बे को बेच दिया वहाँ बंद करने के लिए। वो सोचे कि सुरक्षित होगा इस तीनों स्थान में इतना चांदी था, सोना था, प्रभुपाद के खापरा, जितना सामान था। तो बाद में क्योंकि मैं प्रभुपाद के कमरा और पूरे घर का सेवा किया, तो माँ कृष्ण महाराज मुझे प्रभुपाद के चाबी दे दिया, और इस चाबी हमेशा प्रभुपाद इनका पोइता पर पहन लिया। कहाँ जहाँ गया उसी चाबी प्रभुपाद के पास था, क्योंकि प्रभुपाद के मूल्यवान चीज़ उसी हमारे में था। तो तमाम कृष्ण महाराज ये मुझे दे दिया, और मैं प्रभुपाद के अमायरा खोल दिया। जब खोल दिया मैं देखा कि इतना सामान है, इतना चांदी, सोना, प्रभुपाद के पर्सनल खापरा, जितना था। मैं सोचा कि हम क्या करेंगे इससे, अगर बंद रखेंगे तो कोई लोग कैसे देख सकते। तो हमारे जीबीसी उस समय सोचा कि हम म्यूज़ियम बनेंगे। तो अगर आप कभी प्रभुपाद के घर में जाते, आप देख लेंगे कि हर एक कमरे में डिस्प्ले शेल्व्स है। तो हम डिस्प्ले शेल्व्स बना दिया, और जितना चीज़ था, जैसे प्रभुपाद के ड्रिंकिंग ग्लास, प्रभुपाद के चश्मे, प्रभुपाद के स्वेटर, प्रभुपाद के टॉवल्स, गमछा, जो कुछ था हम उसी में रख दिया, पूरा घर में बढ़ा दिया। और एक विशेष सेफ खरीद लिया, और उसमें प्रभुपाद के चांदी, प्रभुपाद के सोना, और हर साल प्रभुपाद के तिरुभाव के समय हम एक एक चीज़ वहाँ उस सेफ से निकाल देते और सब भक्त लोग को दिखा देते। जैसे प्रभुपाद नवंबर 14, 1977 शरीर छोड़ दिया, समाधि में गया। तो उस रात 7:25 हम आरती करते, और आरती के बाद हम प्रभुपाद के डंडा और प्रभुपाद के पादुका और प्रभुपाद के चादर बाहर निकाल देते, और हर एक भक्त लोग के सिर पर रख देते, और बाकी सामान आप लोग देख सकते। तो उस समय से 1974 से मैं प्रभुपाद के घर देख रही हूँ, और फिर 1977 से 78 से वो जितना सामान है प्रभुपाद के घर में हम सुरक्षित से रख देते उसी डिस्प्ले केसेस में। तो जब भी आप वृंदावन जाते आप देख सकते, और अगर आप विशेष दर्शन चाहते तो हम खोल सकते और वो मूल्यवान चीज़ हम आपको दिखा सकते। ठीक है,
थैंक यू।
तो जब आपका वृंदावन यात्रा होगा अगले साल में तो आप विशेष दर्शन मिलेंगे। ठीक, और मैं आपको टूर भी दे सकती हूँ। अभी हम प्रभुपाद के प्राइवेट कमरा हम बंद कर दिया, ऊपर है, छत पर है। उसी कमरे में प्रभुपाद रोज 8:30 बजे वो भगवद गीता प्रवचन देने के बाद वो ऊपर गया। मैं पूरा घर 3 घंटा का काम था, पूरा कमरा और बरामदा और पीछे सामने 2 पलंग था, बहुत काम है। 3 घंटे रोज पूरा सफाई किया। प्रभुपाद ऊपर आए और केवल इनके सर्वेंट और 1-2 भक्त इनके साथ था उधर। वो 11 बजे सो गया, 1 बजे उठ गया और अनुवाद किया रात में। तो आप लोग, हम आपको ऊपर ले जाएंगे और आप उधर भी दर्शन मिलेंगे। ठीक है, प्रभुपाद के प्राइवेट कमरा। ठीक, प्रभुपाद उधर जापा किया, वो इनके पीछे वाले जो छत पर वो उधर जाप किया, उधर सो गया, उधर बैठ के और अनुवाद किया। और जब प्रभुपाद बहुत बीमार था, इनका चेयर था उठाने के लिए और मंदिर में ले जाने के लिए, दर्शन के लिए। तो वो बहुत विशेष सामान है उधर प्रभुपाद जी का। ठीक है,
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, we want to hear something about how, while serving Srila Prabhupada, your encounters with other God sisters and God brothers. When Srila Prabhupada was personally present, how do you deal with other God sisters or God brothers? In some special case you want to say?
अगर आप प्रभुपाद का निजी सेवा कर रहे
English will be good, I think. We want to hear in English.
In English?
Yes.
Okay. When you're doing the personal service of the spiritual master, you have to be extremely careful. Because first of all, you don't want to offend Srila Prabhupada. You have to be trained by his servants how to serve him. And then after getting proper training, then you can serve Prabhupada properly. Just as when I was trained by his sister, trained by Jamuna, and his personal servants would tell me what to do, what not to do, things like that. But everyone has a different personality. And when you're in such close association with Srila Prabhupada, and he has a secretary, he has a servant, and he would have a traveling GBC with him at all times, and sometimes a cook. So I would be the cook in those circumstances. So sometimes the servants, because the servants were changing, the secretary was changing, the GBC was changing, they didn't know me, I didn't know them, and we had to all serve Prabhupada together. And some of them had very unusual personalities. So there was, some of them were very cooperative and very helpful. For instance, when serving with Shruti Kirti, there was never any problem whatsoever. Others were they wanted to do everything for Prabhupada. And they didn't like you to do anything for him. They wanted to keep all of the service for themselves. So one time Prabhupada was coming he had made a whole tour of Africa, he had gone to Mauritius, and we were waiting for Prabhupada in Bombay. It was just a month trip that Prabhupada had taken, so I was serving Prabhupada before he left, and during that month I had redecorated Prabhupada's rooms in Bombay, made them very beautiful. When he came back, he said it looked like Vrindavan. He was so happy. But he had picked up a new servant along the way, a brahmachari. And this brahmachari didn't know me and I didn't know him, but I knew that I had to be very respectful to him. So on the first day when he arrives with Prabhupada, he comes into the kitchen and he said, I'm going to teach you how to cook for Prabhupada. I had already been cooking for Prabhupada for 2 years. But I said, yes, okay, Prabhu. So he starts teaching me how to cook, and naturally, he's teaching me how to cook and everything got late. So I bring in, and you can't be late for Prabhupada. If you're late for Prabhupada, you lost your job. You're finished. Because Prabhupada was so precise in not wasting a single second. You had to have his plate right on time at 1 o'clock. Otherwise you were in big trouble, because there were so many other devotees who wanted to serve Prabhupada, and it would cause him inconvenience. So I bring the plate in late, and he looks at me and says, why are you late? And I said, Prabhupada, so-and-so is teaching me how to cook for you. He's teaching me how to cook chapatis. And Prabhupada, he just shakes his head. He said, neither of you know how to make chapatis. I will come and teach you. So Prabhupada comes into the kitchen, and the three of us are there, and he teaches us how to make chapatis. And after he teaches us how to make chapatis, he said, now you can make 1 chapati a minute. And then he goes out. Next day, Prabhupada calls me in. He's having his massage. and he says to me, I have told so-and-so that you already know how to cook. So he doesn't have to teach you how to cook. So, but still, this particular brahmachari, he wanted to do everything for Prabhupada. So he made a plan. Prabhupada got a telegram from the Delhi temple president. And the Delhi temple president wrote to Prabhupada in the telegram, immediately send pujari. We have no pujari. They had no pujari in Delhi. Nobody wanted to stay in Delhi. It was very difficult. So, next thing we hear is, you're going tonight to Delhi. You're going to be the pujari. And I thought, oh, he got his way. He's getting me out of the kitchen so he can cook. So I didn't say a word. I didn't even say goodbye to Prabhupada because I could understand what was going on, that he wanted me out of the kitchen and he wanted to cook for Prabhupada. So I went to Delhi, and very shortly afterwards, 15 days later, Prabhupada came to Delhi with the servant. Now, when I had redecorated all of Prabhupada's rooms in Bombay, I was telling Indumati today, I had found beautiful stone plates and katoris, and just like what you have here in Orissa. Each katori had a little dakkan on top. Everything was perfect. One big katori for the shukta, and one for a night plate, a day plate. It was beautiful. And I would bring the different katoris in and the plates for Prabhupada, and they were so nice, and everything kept hot. So when Prabhupada and this servant reached Delhi, as soon as he saw me, he offered his dandavat to me. And I just, why is he offering his dandavats to me? I offered my dandavats back. And he said, Mataji, I'm so sorry I sent you away. He said, every day I broke one katori. And the only thing that was left was the Shukta Katori. And the last day I broke that one. So the both of us learned. Now Prabhupada, he could understand all of our mentalities. At the same time, after he sent me away, because he thought I was just cooking, he didn't know that I was cleaning, I was going to the market and buying all the vegetables, he didn't know that I was washing all the pots. And Prabhupada came into the kitchen one day, because Prabhupada's bedroom was right next to the kitchen. And he said to me, you cannot make any noise when you wash the pots. Have you ever tried to wash pots without making noise? Practically impossible, but I had to do it. I had to wash the pots and not make any noise. So this brahmachari, he didn't know about all the behind-the-scene works. He just saw the cooking part when you bring in the plate. So then all of a sudden, when he had sent me to Delhi, he had to wash the pots, he had to do and he was the secretary. Wash the pots, clean the apartment, go to the market, all these things that he didn't want to do. So there was another servant who came to also help. And he was massaging Prabhupada. And because Prabhupada would not take a shower, he would I bought beautiful brass buckets for Prabhupada. One for the cold water, one for the hot water. He loved these buckets. I bought buckets for him in Mayapur, in Calcutta, in Delhi, and everywhere we went, I brought these brass buckets. So we had the brass buckets, and you'd have to use the immersion heaters, to heat up the water in those days. We didn't have running hot water. So when the servant who was doing the massaging would put the hot water heater into the bucket, it made the water in the kitchen electrified. So every time the cook, who was the brahmachari, touched the sink, he would get electrified. So he kept telling the servant, don't plug in the hot water heater. And the servant kept doing it. So one day, the brahmachari comes out and starts punching the other, because he couldn't cook. So right in front of Prabhupada, they're having a fist fight. And Prabhupada has to physically separate them. And he gives them a very important instruction. And now all of this was being told to me by the brahmachari when he reached Delhi. He said, Mataji, you don't know what happened. I broke all the things, then this big fight happened with the other, and then Prabhupada had to separate us. And Prabhupada gave us a very important instruction. He said that you should never do a service that causes inconvenience to another devotee's service. So now this devotee, I saw, he was becoming humbler and humbler because of all of the mistakes that he had made. You understand? So finally, Prabhupada was just waiting patiently. Finally, Prabhupada calls in this brahmachari, and he said, I'm giving you sannyas tomorrow, and you leave. You go preaching. And the brahmachari was devastated. How could he leave Prabhupada's service? He thought that Prabhupada couldn't live without him. You know, he was doing everything for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada just sent him away. He gave him sannyas. He said, you go to Germany and you preach all over Europe. So he did what Prabhupada said. And he did such wonderful preaching. And he printed in about 7 different languages in Europe. And just before Prabhupada left the planet, he brought all these books in different languages, in German, in Yugoslavian, in Russian, in all these countries that we never had books before. And he brought them to Srila Prabhupada while Prabhupada was lying on his bed. And Prabhupada, there were tears running down his eyes. He was rubbing the devotee's head, and he was saying to him, you see why I sent you away? You're such an intelligent boy, and you were just rotting in my service. Now look at all the wonderful service you're doing. So sometimes the spiritual master, he knows what we need in order to do our best service for him. And ultimately, again, the best service that that devotee was finally able to do was print books, and he distributed those books all over Europe. He was the first to go in secretly to Russia, make so many Russian devotees there, and all of the behind the Iron Curtain. So Prabhupada, he sent him out preaching, and he pleased Prabhupada by taking that instruction seriously and then coming back with all these new books in the new languages. Okay?
But Mataji, how devastating it would have been for you, because you went to Delhi,
Yes.
leaving your service,
Yes,
even if you didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So how much difficult it was? How did you handle that situation?
well, Prabhupada came 15 days later.
Those 15 days, how did you
Those
manage?
15 days, I was praying to Radha Parthasarati during those 15 days. I was the only pujari for Radha Krishna deities. So I just had to serve them all day and night, and I was praying and praying to them. And when Prabhupada came back, he told my husband, he said, you go back to Vrindavan. He gave my husband a service there. And Prabhupada wanted us to come back to Vrindavan. We were right in Delhi. But because I was the only pujari, I couldn't go. So I'm engaged in Radha Parthasarati's service. Prabhupada tells us to come back to Vrindavan. And then Prabhupada came back afterwards and he said, why you didn't come to Vrindavan? I told you to come to Vrindavan. It was because I had to take care of the deities. Then it was all right. But from that service, Prabhupada told us to return to Vrindavan. So ultimately, it brought us right back to Vrindavan. So,
Thank you.
okay?
Anything else anybody has? Anybody has any question? I have a question because sometimes while dealing with the devotees, I also at times I become angry. I don't try to tolerate that situation. I think that why should I tolerate? He did a mistake. He should suffer for it.
Yes.
If he's equal, I think like that.
Oh yes, Prabhupada would get angry. Prabhupada would get, yes, for training, you have to, you have to, when it's your responsibility to train someone, then it's a transcendental anger. It's not that you're falling into the mode of passion. No, you want this person to do their service properly. And it's your responsibility to train him. So rather than calling it anger, you are training that person. That's all. That's part of your responsibility. Okay?
Anybody else has something to say?
The question she says when she's a Hari serve, she makes mistakes.
Yes.
Then how should we rectify that?
Well, Prabhupada also taught me that before you start your service, you should have your 16 rounds completed. And then your mind will work properly, and your mind will be able to decide what's the right things to do so that you won't make mistakes. So try to get your 16 rounds done before you start your service in the morning. Okay?
Mataji, one thing I am not able to understand, how means everywhere it is said that everybody should take the shelter of the holy name.
Yes.
But I am not able to understand how to, means I feel that Vaishnavas are above the holy name.
They're what?
Devotees are more powerful than the holy name. I feel like that.
Well, why are they devotees? They're devotees because they've taken shelter of the holy name. And ultimately, that's how we are going to go back to Godhead. The whole spiritual world is built upon sound vibration. And the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the most powerful of all mantras. It's the Maha Mantra. You can't call any other mantra the Maha Mantra. So by taking shelter of the holy name, that's Krishna is dancing on our tongue. He's personally present with us. All of our senses are engaged in his service when we're chanting. So we have to take shelter of the holy name, and then we're actually devotees. It's not just by our physical activities. It's by the control of the mind through the chanting of Hare Krishna, by hearing properly, and then our mind becomes purified so that we can actually engage in devotional service. So the whole basis of devotional service is this chanting of Hare Krishna. But because we are not pure enough to simply chant the holy name like Haridas Thakur did, Prabhupada has arranged so many different activities for us because there's Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Padanam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So Shravanam and Kirtanam, they come first, hearing and chanting. But if you can't just do that, there's so many other things, so many other activities that Prabhupada's given us. Ambarish Maharaj, he could do all of them. Anything that we can do. But the two most important are the hearing and chanting. And that's what we should always attempt to do. Constantly be hearing and chanting. It's not just only chanting Hare Krishna. Hearing means hearing the classes. Reading is smaranam. So all of these activities, within 24 hours, we can always be engaged in any of those 9 different types of bhakti. Okay?
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, anybody has any question? Yes, come.
Mataji, how to manage the family life and the spiritual life in both in good way?
Are you married?
No.
Why everybody is laughing, I don't know.
Very difficult.
Because everybody wants.
Are you planning on getting married?
Again, everybody will laugh again.
Do you mean family life with your parents? Or, living with your parents? Yes. How old are you?
35.
25. And you're
35. 35.
35. And you're still living with your parents?
Yeah.
Are you planning to marry at any time in the future?
My parents are planning.
Your parents are planning. All right, fine. That's very nice. Are you going to live with your parents after you marry?
No.
No, you're going to live separately. Okay. Because there are different solutions for different situations. So the way to balance family life and spiritual life is to engage your family members in devotional service. You make your home into a temple. You see all of your family members as potential devotees, and you help them become devotees. And when it comes to parents, because I was 18 when I took Diksha, very attached to my parents, and I wrote to Prabhupada that they were becoming interested also. So Prabhupada wrote to me, he said, "You are very nice, so your parents must be very nice also. Mangoes come from the mango tree. So because you become a devotee, you have to give some gratitude to your parents because it was they who have brought you up so that you could become a devotee. Mangoes come from the mango tree. So offer respect to your parents, give them prasadam as much as possible. I don't know the details of who your parents are or what your family situation is, but we should see our family members as other living entities who are also suffering just like we were before we learned about Krishna consciousness, and try to help them become Krishna conscious so that they're not suffering anymore. Not see them just as my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my wife, my husband. No, they don't belong to us. Everyone belongs to Krishna, and we should see them as co-servants trying to serve Krishna together, especially in married life. We're partners trying to serve our Guru together, trying to serve Krishna together. So when we see in that light, then there won't be so much conflict, because we're trying to help that person become a better devotee. And then when they see that you respect them and you have compassion for them and you're trying to help them, then they appreciate you more. Okay? I hope everything works out.
There's a question. Somebody has asked whose phone it is? Yours. Okay. Pulakit Prabhu is asking how to distribute books, like how to approach them and what should we say to them that they get convinced, and how to start the conversation with them so that we start telling about the books.
Yes. The way I distribute books, I don't have any mantra, I don't have any secrets. I follow the Bhagavad Gita, whatever's in the book that I'm distributing, and I see myself as a representative of the book. And I always dress like a Vaishnava, and I'm always smiling, very peaceful, very easy to approach, because we have to remember everyone is suffering in this world. They want to find people who are happy. They want to be happy. So if they see that you are a happy, peaceful person, they'll be naturally attracted to you. What's your secret? So I don't try to push the book in their hand. I'll offer them a book. I'll just say, Hare Krishna, and I say, would you like to see this book? And then when you're not only presenting the book, you're presenting yourself as a representative of that book. So if they're attracted to your lifestyle, then they'll also be attracted to, oh, where did you get this knowledge from? And then you'll be able to distribute that book to them. And not just one book, you can distribute many books to them. That yes, this is how we eat, this is how we sing, like that. And they'll take a whole stack of books because they see that you're a good representative. Okay? No pretending to be one thing, but you're actually another thing. No, I'm a Vaishnava, I wear tilak, I always wear a sari, I always try to be clean and friendly and happy. And when they see a person like that, they want to take a book from you.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody has any other question? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, usually what happens when we are into the materialistic corner of our life, there is so many competition going side by side, and we think that we cannot go apart from it, but we have to also go with it. So the thing is that I forget myself, what I am doing. Am I serving my Guru? Am I serving Prabhupada? Am I serving Krishna? I forget everything. I don't understand how to serve. And the thing is basically that keeps on regretting me inside my heart, that whether I'm capable of serving, whether Krishna is keeping me apart from a Guru because I'm so patit, like that thing. And this thing, I really want to understand why does this happens to us.
What time do you get up in the morning?
It's not usually balanced, Mataji. It's sometimes it is 6 and it goes till 8 even, because I am a student right now and I really, I'm not able to I sleep around 2 sometimes or 3 a.m. like that.
Really?
Yes, Mataji.
You have to study?
Yes,
so
Mataji.
late at night? Okay. Try to make your schedule so that before you start anything in the day, you're chanting your Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because this will give you the intelligence for the whole rest of the day so that your activities will be perfected. You'll notice such a difference in your life if you can get 16 rounds done before you start your studies, before you go to your classes. All right? Try it. Just try it even one day. Get 16 rounds done first thing in the morning, and you'll see how smoothly your whole day will go. Okay, just give it a try. It's the best medicine.
Okay, I have one last thing to say, that we want to end the class today with a sweet pastime.
With what?
The sweetest pastime of yours with Srila Prabhupada.
Sweetest pastime of mine with Srila Prabhupada?
Yeah.
It's, when you're with someone 24 hours a day and serving that person in love, it's not that one time was the sweetest. Our whole life was sweet, serving Srila Prabhupada. There would be so many wonderful exchanges with Srila Prabhupada and reciprocations, appreciations. So I really can't say one time that was the sweetest, because I was always there with Srila Prabhupada so much of the time, and even in his absence, I always feel Prabhupada's presence because I'm always engaged in his service. So I really can't tell you of that one sweetest time that I always remember, because I had lots and lots of times with Prabhupada that were the sweetest. So I can't distinguish what was the sweetest of all the sweetness. Okay? Please forgive me.
Thank you. I'm sorry. The
No,
question
that's
was
okay.
wrong. Question
I just-
was wrong. The question was wrong.
No. Other devotees, they'll say, yes, I remember, because they had a little bit of association with Prabhupada. But when you're with Prabhupada a lot, it's not that this was the sweet, everything was sweet.
Everything is sweet for him.
Even chastisement was sweet.
Where is he?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, will you please share the past time when you first time saw Prabhupada?
What was that?
When you first time saw Prabhupada, how
When I
you felt?
first time saw him, I didn't get to meet Prabhupada immediately. I think I told this story yesterday, didn't I?
No.
No? Oh. Because I was a student. I was a student of Oriental philosophy, and I found the Bhagavad Gita at the university. And when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I left the university to find the devotees. And I found the devotees and joined the temple immediately. But Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, and I joined in my hometown, which was Philadelphia, which is about 3,000 miles away. That's like 5,000 kilometers away from each other. And in Philadelphia, there were only 4 devotees in the temple. So I could have gone to Los Angeles, where there were 200 devotees and where Srila Prabhupada was. But I thought that if I stay here and help the devotees in Philadelphia, that would be a better service to Prabhupada. So I stayed there and I helped the devotees go to different schools and make programs and help to make devotees. And they desperately needed devotees, so they got me initiated right away by mail. So, but I was initiated first by a letter, and then married. And then Prabhupada came back here to India, and he didn't come back to America for a whole year. So when Prabhupada came back, devotees hadn't seen Prabhupada for a year. And we all came to where Prabhupada was landing, which was New York City. So the first time I saw Prabhupada was when he came out of the plane. And we all fell down on the ground, and we were all, our hearts were all just ecstatic to see Prabhupada. And the next day was my second initiation. And when you get second initiation from Prabhupada, you go in alone to be with Prabhupada. So I went in, and because there were many, many devotees, 50 devotees had been initiated that day. And I thought, well, I'm nobody. I'll go out and collect some Guru Dakshina to bring to Prabhupada. By the time I got back, everybody was gone. So they took me right into Prabhupada. I gave Prabhupada the Guru Dakshina. And then Prabhupada sat me down and gave me the Gayatri Mantra. And then we had a conversation at that time. So that was the first time I got to see Prabhupada personally, when he gave me second initiation. Okay? All right? So?
Yes, I think. A lot of questions in that. So, can we have the places? The place of all the devotees which you wrote? Altogether. One thing I can realize that we have like the love of Krishna towards the gopis is always less than the love of the gopis towards Krishna. So your love for Srila Prabhupada will always be more than everybody else who comes next.
No, all disciples love their Guru. their guru saved their life. So guru is the most important for each disciple, not just for one. Okay. So should I
No, you
sit
be
down
here.
then?
They'll come.
Oh, okay.
I'll
fine.
read the plays, they can come. Mataji, you can come and read the plays of Mataji's. I'll read the plays for Prabhuji's. We'll start with Mataji's so that Prabhuji's can edit their praises. You can edit your plays. Mataji, you come first here. Question can be personal later. Now Kirtan started below. So you want to take the question or the books? We'll start with books.
Are there more questions? Yes.
Okay.
Shall we start with Mataji?
Yeah. Question.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavad Pranam.
You have to speak loudly.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavad Pranam. Mataji, thank you for giving such a wonderful session. Mataji, my question is, while distributing Bhagavad Gita, you said you have said that we should be easy to approach.
Yes.
What is the meaning of this, Mataji? Could you please elaborate?
Oh, well, when you became a devotee, you must have been attracted to the other devotees, correct? And you must have felt welcomed by them. And there must have been something that attracted you so that you wanted to be like those devotees, correct? So easy to approach means that the person feels that they can open up their heart to you and that what you're giving them might be of some value in their life. So easy to approach would be that they can speak to you and there will be some value in whatever you speak to them, like a friend. To be friendly. That's one of the 26 qualities of a devotee, to be friendly. Okay?
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this session. I'm sure सबको कुछ मिला है आज घर लेके जाने के लिए, पर मुझे पता है घर जाने तक स्लेट ब्लैंक हो गया होगा. नहीं मत बोलो. अभी लिखो क्या याद आया. Yes, every one of us. It's so nice that every time we get so many instructions. But by the time we have our prashadam and get downstairs, it's all over. So every one of us must write tomorrow. Yeah, must write tomorrow. Yeah, what do I do with this? Oh, it's all right. I'll hold it. Every one of us must write at least one point today as to how you will emulate what Daivi Shakti Mataji told all through your lifetime. She gave us a talk for at least close to 1.5 hours. Each word was nectar. Each word was an instruction. So we must all take out at least one sentence from that and make sure that all through our life we follow that instruction. How many of us will do it today? Hari Bol. Please pen it in your spiritual diaries and we can always discuss it later on. Yeah, we have some Matajis have given their pledge as to how many Bhagavad Gita they would be distributing. But there are only 2 pieces or 1 piece. That means what? 1 for myself, 1 for my padosi. Yes. So we are looking for a minimum 5 pieces and that too today is bonus. After this, हम लोग माताजी का साइन किया हुआ बुक उन्हीं को ही देंगे जो पेटी भर के लेंगे. आज एक ही दिन है जब आपको 5 के लिए बोनस दिया जा रहा है. इसके बाद जिसको भी मिलेगा वो 20 लेंगे तभी उनको मिलेगा ये वाला बुक.
No, it can be more also.
Oh, it could be 50 also. Okay, but here जो कोई भी 1 or 2 piece है इसको 5 piece करना पड़ेगा.
They are happy to do it. Are you happy?
You have to do it. Yes? One means I'm not preaching.
Oh no, force does not work.
Yes, force does not work. Yes? Okay. But then they're used to bribery, Mataji. Okay, I'll read out the names and
Bribery works?
so we'll start off with Mataji's names first and Prabhuji, someone will give you. Yes.
Do you have a
Apurva
pen?
Daya Devi Dasi Mataji, she is a very senior Vaishnavis, disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. She always makes sure that she at least distributes 2 boxes of Bhagavad Gita every year.
Oh,
Yes,
wonderful.
Haribol. Yes. Yes.
I want to put her name in the book.
Yes, Mataji. Pen gudu do padivo na likhive Mataji. Next is
I
Aparajita
signed all
Mataji.
of these. Why isn't this one signed?
Eh?
Signed ones?
Yeah, of course.
You want to
it's
edit?
signed.
Yeah, I will edit it.
Give me the signed
Automatically
ones,
edit
please.
it. 1, 2 to 5 he.
I take this
Up.
one.
Aparajita. Yeah, you can start coming so that
Is this
Give
one
the
signed?
signed ones. Give the signed ones. Any language. Any language is okay. Give the signed ones.
तेवढं sign ह्याची देऊ. Aparajita Mataji, please line up. Kiran Mataji, 18 pieces of Bhagavad Gita. Kiran, Hari Bol, clap for Kiran. हमको भी खाने को मिलेगा. जोर से मार सकते हैं ताली. Yes. Nishika Mataji, 5 pieces. Hari Hari Bol. Aparajita. को प्रभु साइन गुड़ा मिलू नहीं कि थके थिला साइन. Oh, चल.
I signed so many of them.
हाँ. कौन? तुम अपना नाम दो ना, मम्मी का नाम क्यों चलता? क्या दिया हुआ है? हाँ, मम्मी क्या कर?
Just put the whole stack.
हाँ, पेंचर दे दे. अपराजिता, yes. किरण, किरण. Nishika Mataji, please clap for her. 5 pieces. Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, wonderful. Guys,
Sonali.
I hope it's not the
Rajat,
last time.
5 pieces. Hari Hari Bol.
आ नहीं पाए पर
काप लेंगे.
उनका नाम भी लिखना भूल गए बस
अच्छा. Monica Mataji.
NIS
5 pieces. Hari Hari Bol. Anushka Mataji. 5 pieces. Hari Hari Bol. Sonali. Sonali. Anisha Mataji, Hari Hari Bol, 5 pieces. Monica.
Monica? See.
Swarnalata Mataji. Swarnalata Mataji, 5 pieces kar dili. Hari Bol.
She wants it.
Anushka?
In the end. Narmada Mataji, 10 pieces of Bhagavad Gita. Hari Hari Bol.
Put one upside down.
We have a new entrant there. Whose name's not on the list.
I purposefully left no space so that you would sign on.
Whom she planning to take for?
Sorry.
Herself?
I could not convey my message. Oh.
Mataji, there's a new entrant here and we don't know how much she's pledged.
Just 5?
Can I have $5?
Can you 5 books for what?
5 into 100.
Store them in my clutter.
No, later. We'll take care.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, Swarnalata Mataji, then Narmada Mataji, Jagyasini Mataji, 5 pieces. Hari Hari Bol. सब एवं मन पड़ो सोई पड़ते लगी समझते प्राची माताजी 5 pieces हरी हरी बोल जगरूपा माताजी 30 pieces हरी हरी बोल तले लेके पापा ना तले लेके जल्दी सही बसी लेके नर्मदा जागिया how do you spell it?
Sing.
कॉपी लेके बाहर नहीं जाना सब बुक स्टॉल से लेके जाना नेक्स्ट संडे आपके बुक्स
बुला देते फिर
devotees can edit their counts also.
more not less जोशना माता जी 5 pieces हरी हरी बोल सागरिका माता जी 5 pieces हरी हरी बोल वनिता माता जी 25 pieces हरी हरी बोल
Prachi. Das. Prachi Das.
प्रतिमा माता जी और ज्योति माता नाटक पाहिजे प्रणाम तो समजते कर दिया शाश्वती का पट्टा मंत्र जी 5 pieces हरी हरी बोल थैंक यू हरिप्रिया मंत्र जी 10 pieces of भगवद गीता हरी बोल वर्षारानी मंत्र जी 10 pieces हरी बोल हाँ ताली वाली कुछ नहीं बज रहा है अनीता माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल टोटल फैमिली मिलकर एक पेटी
Such. How do you spell it?
नवनीता माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल रोज़लिन माता जी 11 is that 11
Hush.
11 10 1 that means 5
Hush.
okay रोज़लिन माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल स्मृति प्रज्ञा माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल आशा लता माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल and then we come to ज्योति माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल प्रभाती माता जी 10 pieces हरी बोल प्रतिमा माता जी 5 pieces हरी बोल आपके अमर प्रभु जी मत नाचे ए माता जी
अक्षर लिख लिया
एक 26 लो प्रभु जी मन पर आपण टाकी मोठ कर हो
plus 530 there see
हां
see
फिक्स्ड संतोष कुमार दास 5 pieces हरी बोल
to announce it 10 you have to announce plus 5 whatever it is.
3 plus 5
Ah,
3 plus 5 hari boll you do the action on your own
I give them
amlan Prabhu Bhakta Amlan 5 plus 5 it is like that auto date you go Soumya Prabhu 5 plus 5 for you Lanka kuch kariyo Guru Sikha Guru instruction 5 plus 5 Vijay Kumar Roy 2 plus 5 Hari Bol Abhishek Prabhu 1 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. Prasuti Kumar Swami Prabhu. 1 plus 5? 1 plus 5? Yes. Hari Hari Bol. Bhakta Austin? When? How will you carry it back? How will you carry it back to Mayapur? Okay. Bhakta Austin will buy 1 here and 5 in Mayapur, right? Hari Hari Bol. Pulkit Prabhu. 2 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. Swastik Sundar Prabhu. 5 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. Babu Gray Prabhu ji. 5 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. Prabhat Prabhu. 10 plus 5. 10 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. Amit Patel Prabhu. Achha di. Achha. Amya Prabhu ji. 5 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. And Anubhav. 1 plus 5. 1 plus 5. Ananta Prabhu. Ananta Prabhu 5 plus 5. Hari Bol. Acha, okay. Rakesh Prabhu 50. 50 ta nebe? 5 ta. 5 plus 5. Hari Hari Bol. Okay, क्योंकि line में ठिया पड़े फटाफट लिखे. Thank you so much. So we have a nice number. It is a fraction of what Mataji does. Come.
So they
The whole family wants one book each.
they are all family.
They get 3 books.
4 books.
4. Mataji also took one. Amya.
A, M, I,
You all got one.
Y,
सबको मिला.
Amir.
आपको चाहिए?
Hare Krishna. Is this your son? Yes. They're both your son?
Here. ये दंडा वालूंगा. देनाती ना कानू प्रभु 100 plus 5 हाँ 5 पेटी तो पेटीटा पूरा गोटा धरे देवा प्रभु नियंतु एटा न्यू ईयर रे आपण आपण स्टाफ को गिफ्ट देबे करी दे देबे सब लोगों को ठीक अछि
Oh, see, the whole group with no boys left on the carpet. Santosh?
ज्योति माती जी खाना इधर है खाना इधर है
हम लोग तो लेके
इधर है
और हम खाली वाला ले
इधर करेंगे कि
सब जो बना के लाए थे
इतने लोगों को तो होगा नहीं नहीं सबके लिए तो है टिफिन
M-Y. कितनी मंजरी माता कितनी मंजरी
आओ ले ना भगवत गीता कितना ने
5टा ସେଇଠୁ ଆମେ କିଣିକି ବିକ୍ରି କଲୁ
here with the
वो बोले अपने पास का मंदिर में जहाँ से भी लीजिए
ଓ ଯାଜପୁର କିନ୍ତୁ ନେବେ ଯେମିତି
ଯାଇଥିଲୁ ଟ୍ରେନରେ ବିକିବାକୁ
ଆଚ୍ଛା
ସେଲିଂ କରିବାକୁ କରିକି ଆସିଥିଲୁ
ହଁ ହଁ ମୋତେ କହୁଥିଲେ ହଁ ସ୍ୱାଗତିକା ମାତି
ଓହୋ ଉनके साथ
ହଁ ଦାସେଶ୍ୱରୀ ମାତି
ଆପଣ ଦୀପ୍ତି ମାତେ ଯେ ବିଷ୍ଣୁପ୍ରିୟ ଗ୍ରୁପରୁ ଓହୋ
କେତେ ଲେଖିବେ
ଜ୍ୟୋତି ମାତେ
ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ
ମାତାଜୀଙ୍କର ଏଇଟା ବହି ଗୋଟେ
ନେଇଛି ଗୋଟେ ବକ୍ସ ସମସ୍ତେ ସ୍କୁଲରୁ
ଆଚ୍ଛା
ଆଉ ଅଲରେଡ଼ି
ଆଗ ତ ଡବଲ ଯାଏ
ହେଇଗଲାଣି ଆଉ ଆଗକୁ କ'ଣ ହବ ଜାଣିନି
ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ପ୍ଲେଟ୍
बल्ली भिन्नता
English or
प्लेट्स वगैरह हम अरेंज कर दे उतना देर
Abhishek?
कैसे कैसे खिलाएंगे सब पहनेंगे माता जी बोले कैसे लाएंगे सब
जो अभी के लिए कुछ टिफिन है वो सब भी ले आते हैं
शायद वो वही खाएंगे
Which language?
स्पेलिंग बोल दो, सब स्पेलिंग बोल दो.
What is that?